Hello everyone, welcome to the Finest Women in Real Estate. My name is Jason Jordan. I'm your host today, and we have some amazing guests. We're going to talk about real estate with, first of all, Jamie Grijalva. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Wonderful. Jamie is a real estate agent here in Southern California, and also she's starting her own TV show, which we're going to get into a little bit later. We also have Elaine Swann with us, who is a master of etiquette and will be teaching us how to connect with people and be more effective there. And we also have someone coming from our nation's capital today, Terrie Tinney, who's going to talk about our custom homes and our dream homes that we may find up there in our nation's capital. So welcome aboard to you as well. I wanted to start just by asking how you got involved in real estate.
So my journey started about 15 years ago, and it was really when we were having a really hard time getting people to take us seriously when we wanted to buy a home. Don't let this fool you, but this was 15 years ago, so I was, what, 20? 19. No, anyhow, we were really young. My husband and I, and nobody would take us seriously. And so it was that same year that I went and got my real estate license. My husband put it on his credit card, my real estate course. And it was that within 6 to 8 months, we got our first home. So nobody would help us, but we did it anyways. And so the beginning of my career, I focused on helping those that people wouldn't help. So that was, I was the realtor for the people.
That's right. And 2004 was an amazing year in Southern California real estate. I know most of the country went through some crazy gyrations, but I think we experienced it more than most. What do you guys remember about 2004 and those times leading up?
I think one of the things that stands out to me, 2004, 2005, all the way kind of etching to 2007 is really, that's when smartphones came into play. And that really started to affect many, many business industries from a lot of different perspectives. And I think that's one thing that I can say was probably even more so even prevalent in the real estate industry. You know, we used to communicate one way, and it really started to take a turn and take a shift during that time. So that's one thing that stands out to me.
Technology was really shifting. We used to have to handwrite all of our contracts. We used to have to get listings, print them out. It was totally different. Technology was really shifting.
It made a big shift. It started to make that shift.
Amazing. And we're not talking about that long ago, right? 2004, just 15 years. It feels that way, right? But then the market here in Southern California really took a kind of a nosedive. I moved here in 2009. And I remember in every third house that I went to was abandoned. And so what do you remember from those times, and what was it like being in real estate during those times?
Well, you know, we purchased our home in 2005, and I don't think there could have been a worse time.
There wasn't, because we also bought a home too. We went from the condo to a home.
It was real, and it's so funny because we bought our home around March of 2005, and within the same development, we had told some friends this is a great place to live, and we gave them a referral and gave them our realtor and everything, and literally 6 months later, they bought the same, you know, in the same floor plan and everything in the same development for nearly $60,000 less than what we had paid for it. So yeah, that broke our hearts immediately. So I can remember that.
Couldn't you pay more for that house?
Well, let me reach out to the nation's capital. Were you up there during this kind of crisis, or were you living somewhere else?
No, I've been in Northern Virginia and the DC area for several years. I've been in real estate for about 18 years, specifically new construction, luxury new homes. Wow. And I remember well the time frame you're talking about up here. It was booming between like 2002 and 2006, 7, and you started to see the leading edge waning off. They couldn't feel it. Nobody else could feel it. If you were on the leading edge, you knew it was happening.
Right.
But you had such a pipeline to get through that you really didn't feel the effects until after 2008, because remember, I'm new construction, so that's what we're doing. But after 2008, there was definitely a little bit of dip that happened in the market.
Okay, a little bit of dip.
A little bit of a dip.
Now, a great follow-up question is, how do you've been in real estate for quite a while, you weathered the storm, how do you differentiate yourself when the bottom falls out of the market and customers aren't beating on your door, when you don't have to beg for somebody to pay attention to you anymore, but you have to go out and find them? How did that work?
So it was a little bit different for me being in new construction because we didn't necessarily just do communities. So we worked with homeowners who owned homes or owned land and did demolitions and rebuilds on their own property. So that actually carried us through. Like, I kept selling and kept going, not like booming, but I kept going, and we weathered it really, really well. Even the communities haven't come back even now, like they were before the dip.
Oh, wow.
But the building on individual lots, that has just continued to grow.
That's great. And how did you kind of reinvent yourself during those times?
That's an interesting thing, because a lot of business owners had to try to think about, how can we pivot in this market? When home is the first thing, and the service that we provide in the area of etiquette and protocol and professional development is more of a luxury service. It's not something that we all need it. Most of us want it, but at the same time, if it's not at the top of the list as far as that's concerned. So you have to start thinking about doing business differently and how you can provide even reach more people, but at the same time share the information that you have. And so we really had to start thinking about being really creative and serving as many companies as possible. So we really went the corporate route because companies still had to stay intact, and so that's where we really started to reach out to more of our corporate clients.
That's a smart idea.
Oh, yeah.
The best survive by pivoting, right? Finding a way and a hole to stay relevant. How did you do it in that market?
So my clients that I helped buy the most expensive house on the block, I then had to help them sell that house. Well, it was crazy because the loans at the time were crazy too. A lot of adjustable rates, a lot of neg-am loans. So anyhow, my business had to change, and I had to start doing short sales, and then I worked with banks to do REOs, and I mean, that's the key here, is to continue to change and grow and go where the market's going, and to change the way you do business. Because if you're still doing business the way that you were used to doing it, you probably won't. Exactly, you won't survive. Yeah.
That's true. It's all cyclical these days. Everything's going to come around. When we come back, we're going to have a little bit more of a chat with these three of the finest women in real estate about how they differentiate themselves now that the market is at full speed again. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the finest women in real estate. I'm your host, Jason Jordan. We've talked a little bit about the gyrations that the market went through over the last 15 years. And we're talking about now, today. The market is as hot as it's ever been and continues to be. So now it really becomes about differentiating. How do you stand out and how do you specialize in a crowded market? I want to go back to Jamie and talk a little bit. Jamie is a broker, and I wanted to find out a little bit about what it means to be a broker versus an agent and how you differentiate yourself in this market.
So for me, I'm in a special position where, yes, I am the broker of selling Socal, but I also still do service clients. So as a broker, my job is to take agents in and show them the ropes and or help them continue on their real estate journey if they're veterans in the industry. When I work with new agents, I show them how to market themselves. I show them how to do videos. I show them how to do their social media. And then for veterans, I want to continue to give them a platform and tools so that they can still further their career. Now, as a realtor, the way that I differentiate myself is I just try to give the absolute best customer service possible. I am answering my phone. I am responding to them through social media. I'm also constantly on there posting about homes for sale or what I've sold or loan programs out there that can help them. So it's really just staying on top of your business and being out there in front of everybody to see.
It seems you're still driven a little bit by that sense that when you were first starting out, nobody would pay attention to you,
yes.
and you still want to deliver that quality service.
I mean, it scarred me, but in a good way, because it definitely pushed me to open my eyes. There's so many people like me. Well, not exactly like me, but like me that need help, that need guidance, that want home ownership, and nobody's giving them the time of day. So I find those programs, those 100% programs. I find whatever it is, or if their credit is bad, I help them with their credit. So anyhow, that's what I do.
Of course. Now, Terrie, let me ask you, you've specialized in a different way. You are working with new homes primarily, and how have you differentiated yourself there?
So I started out, when I started out doing the new construction, I fell in love with it because it's creating something from nothing. They're always to be built. They're always customized by the buyer. So I did that with different builders like over the years. And then recently, a few years back, I realized that, what the buyer really needed was an advocate who could match them up with whatever their needs were, whatever their budget was, with the right builder in the industry. And so that's what Dream Home Consults does. So I created that company as a full service company to match the buyer with the builder or the buyer with the renovation contractor, whatever industry or whatever avenue they were going for their home. I mean, they're not making any more land and the houses aren't getting any younger.
That's
so
true.
Somebody's going to do something. You're either going to tear it down and rebuild, and there's a lot of those in this area, or you're going to do a renovation. So we cover both aspects of the market.
Now, I actually just bought a brand new construction home and was surprised by a lot of the things. What do you think most people are most surprised about when they buy a new home?
Surprised in what way?
Well, for example, I had no idea that I was going to have no yard. I had to make it all from scratch.
Oh, no yard?
None.
Oh
Dirt.
my God.
No landscape.
Like no space for a yard, or
Well, no
landscaping.
landscaping, no grass, no bushes, no anything.
Well, the way we do it is a little bit different because I'm working with them on the build.
Oh, okay.
So it's very, very clear to everybody we're working with that the outside work, anything outside of actual construction, the land, the engineering work, the permitting, your construction entrance, all of that landscaping is going to be in a separate category that we give them an estimate for in the beginning. So it's not going to have a lawn in the beginning at all. That's like one of the very last things that you do. But yeah, it's segmented out. If it's in a community, it should be included. But if they're building on individual lots, every lot is different. So,
Indeed.
have to do lot specific.
Indeed. And you, Elaine, have actually taken a completely different specialization. You specialized in etiquette. Can you talk to us how you got
I
there?
specialize in etiquette and professional development, and so I would work with individuals like Jamie and her company, and so yes, and so the agents that she has, my role would be to come in and help her. She wants to focus on most especially customer service and making sure that they're growing their business and their brand themselves, and so my job is to make sure that they are polished, and so that they're presenting themselves well. So this way they have that repeat clientele, and then they get those referrals from their clients that they have. Focusing on how to make sure that you're servicing your clients and presenting yourself in a way that's really just above the rest, because people really do look at how you treat them. That's the one thing they're always going to remember. It doesn't matter if you had a really great sale or a great transaction. By the time they walk away, they will remember how you treated them. And so my job is to try to help agents, help work with the brokers, and so that this way we can impart information into their agents in terms of their customer service, and then also how they show up in the community, because a lot of work that they do has to do with networking, and so going to lots of events and things like that. And a lot of times it's very difficult to kind of manage the whole process, that dance of making sure that you're not being a stalker and really being sensitive to people's needs. You don't want to be that individual that people are running away from. Oh my gosh, here comes that agent. You know, so my job is to try to make sure that they find that fine balance and present themselves well and with excellence.
Now, we spoke a little bit earlier about generational gaps, the differences between millennials, Generation X, baby boomers. I know there's a lot of millennials coming in who want to be agents. There's a lot of baby boomers who have retired from their primary position and are now selling real estate in their spare time to earn extra money in retirement. There's a lot of miscommunication as the millennials and the baby boomers are trying to talk. How do you alleviate some of that?
Yeah, so the one thing to do is to empower the millennials with the information in terms of communicating with the baby boomers, and then taking the baby boomers and educating them and making sure that they feel comfortable expressing themselves and in their own way. Because the guide and the thing that I want to make sure that I do is that people still remain who they are as an individual. So I'm not going to take a millennial and try to make them into a baby boomer and vice versa. Right. So we don't want to do that. We want people to be able to be comfortable in their own skin with who they are as an individual, but also be able to communicate effectively. And so those are the skills that I work on with those particular groups. And then you still have the Generation Xers kind of in the middle as well. So you'll find in many organizations, there are 3 generations of folks in one organization, and their goal is to try to, and they all have one goal. And so for me, my role is to try to make sure that I get them there and that they're all kind of speaking the same language, even though it's a little bit different.
That's right. Well, let me ask you guys, we only have a few minutes left before we have to go to break. I wanted to ask you, if you were talking to somebody who's new to the real estate market, somebody who's new to this business, what one first piece of advice would you give them, somebody starting out in your business?
I would say to stay on brand. That's really, really important. I think it's important for us to recognize that even though we have a specific product or a specific industry, that we are the brand, and we have to stay on brand. So if you have a specific brand, whether or not you've determined what it is or not, stay on brand in everything you do.
Right. What about you, Terrie?
So there's a lot of opportunity in real estate, and there's a lot of different directions you can go. I would say find your niche, find what makes you happy and how you serve your client, and you'll be successful in it.
Absolutely. 85 million baby boomers out there. There's bound to be a number of, or not baby boomers, millennials. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of niches available. And what about yourself?
Keep creating them too.
Oh, yes.
And I would just say get educated. Educate yourself in every aspect that you feel is going to affect you and your clients. So having a niche, knowing, keeping focused with who you are and how to work with people, and then just constantly educating yourself. Everything is constantly changing, and you have to stay on top of it.
It is. Well, I am your host, Jason Jordan. This is The Finest Women in Real Estate. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
appears these hot ashes are about to be dumped, which could possibly start a wildfire. How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then another spray. And finally, feeling if the ashes are cool. Oh, yeah. Ah, yes, the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe, but not so much by Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to the finest women in real estate. We have been discussing all matters of real estate with the finest women, and we're now going to move ahead and have a look at what you are experiencing coming up. I understand you have the Swann School of Protocol. Can you
Yes.
talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, yes. Our company, the Swann School of Protocol, is exactly that. It's an etiquette school, a protocol school, finishing school, if you will. And we work with corporations and individuals on their executive presence. And we're in an expansion phase right now, which we're really, really excited about. We're now at the point to where we launched a new program about 12 months ago, and we train individuals in the area of etiquette and give them their certification, and then we license them so they can operate as a Swann School of Protocol in their city. And so these individuals are now teaching and doing workshops and seminars and coaching individuals in the area of etiquette and professional development. And we currently have 17 licensees throughout the United States. So we're really excited about our expansion. We're excited about our growth. We're still licensing folks as they're coming in, and so we have courses and workshops coming up. And the thing is, you know, we can only serve one individual. You know, I can only be in one place at a time. And so when you start looking at your business and your business model and thinking about what you can do to expand or to pivot, this was something that was really great. And it's wonderful because now we're able to touch lots of people throughout the nation.
Great. And what about you, Terrie? What's on the horizon for you?
So what we're finding as we grow and expand as well is that there are certain areas where folks want to build, and it's difficult to get your hands on good dirt, land, parcels. And what we're seeing a lot of are requests for these little enclaves of 2 acre plus lots. So there'd just be an enclave of maybe like 5, 6, 7 lots that a developer is working on. So what we're doing is we're partnering with developers in certain high-end areas or certain areas where there's demand for land and building. And we're working with them to do the infrastructure and put all the pieces together for the subdivisions. And then we're introducing them to clients who are looking in that area. So it's really exciting. I have had a lot of history on, because when I used to run with and work with communities, like you could tell an entire community from a piece of paper. And it's just really exciting to see the raw land and then see that start to come to life and then see the buyers come in, decide on their house types, decide on their builders, and then put it all together. It's just incredible. So that in combination with everything else that we're doing, that's just the new sort of avenue and aspect that we're incorporating due to the need of our buyers.
That's fantastic. We're actually seeing a lot of that here in Southern California as well. Finally, I want to turn things over to Jamie. Jamie, you're about to become a TV star.
Oh.
Tell us about
Well, my husband
selling
already says
Socal.
I am a star.
Oh, yes, of course, of course.
So selling Socal, first and foremost, it's a brokerage, right? So is there a hair on my face? So first and foremost, it's a brokerage. And as a brokerage, we, just like these women here, we are expanding, and we're finally in the position to accept more agents and teach them how to become realtors and experts in their area, and also help veteran realtors continue with their business. But on top of that, we are also going to be launching Selling Socal, the show, which celebrates everything that we love about Southern California. So that's the beaches, the mountains, the deserts, the cultural community events, influential people in the area, and I just really want to celebrate everything that we love about Southern California. So we've got those pokers in the fire. And on a personal note, Danielle, I didn't know if you knew this, but I'm building my house, and so to hear you say everything that you're saying is very informative and great, and nobody teaches you or tells you. And so somebody, having a professional like you, like that would have helped me. I would have done things completely different. The civil engineer, the structural engineer, the architect, like everything, the utilities, you just don't know. But anyhow, I'll probably call you later. But yes, going back to selling Socal, I'm very excited. We're expanding, and we are so excited to celebrate Southern California and everything that we love about it.
Well, that's fantastic. It would be nice for everybody to have advocates and coaches just like the three of you. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the finest women in real estate. We took a little trip down memory lane back to the pre-dark ages of the real estate boom and bust, and right back into the boom again. And we talked a little bit about finding your own niche. I do want to reach out and thank our sponsors. We had Fire Up Connect. We also have the finest women in real estate.com. You can tune into the show 24 hours a day on Roku or on Amazon Fire TV on EAN TV. Or you can just follow the finest women in real estate at finest women in RE. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. I hope you found this show enjoyable and lots of great information. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.